Imagine being 19 years old. You are standing in a World Cup final in front of the entire planet, and on the other side of the pitch are grown men who have spent their whole lives trying to reach this exact moment. Most teenagers at 19 are trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. Kylian Mbappé was trying to figure out how to become immortal, and then he did something almost nobody had done before. He scored in a World Cup final as a teenager. The last player to do that was Pelé. But the crazy thing about Mbappé's story is that the World Cup wasn't the beginning of the hype. It wasn't even the moment people first realized he was special. By the time the world discovered him, France had already been whispering about this kid for years. Because before the trophies, before the PSG money, there was just a boy from Bondy who was moving faster than everyone else. Kylian Mbappé was born on December 20th, 1998 in Paris. But his story really begins in Bondy, a suburb northeast of the capital. No private football palace, no royal academy built around him from birth. Just pitches, concrete, competition, and a family that understood football deeply. His father, Wilfried, was a football coach. His mother, Faiza, had been a handball player. So from the beginning, Kylian wasn't just surrounded by sport, he was surrounded by discipline. At AS Bondy, people noticed very quickly that this child was not normal. He was too quick, too calm, too direct. He didn't just run fast, he made defenders panic. By the time he entered Clairefontaine, the legendary French academy, the whispers were getting louder. This is the country of Zidane, Henry, Vieira, Benzema, Griezmann, Pogba, and so many others. So when people in France start saying, this kid is different, that actually means something. And when people watch you too early, they start waiting for you to fail. He joined Monaco's academy as a teenager. Most young players are introduced slowly. A few minutes here, a cup game there. Mbappé didn't have time for normal. In December 2015, he made his first team debut for Monaco at 16 years old. A few months later, he became Monaco's youngest ever goal scorer. And then came the 2016-17 season. This was the year Mbappé stopped being a promising kid and became a problem for Europe. And in the Champions League, the whole of Europe saw it. Against Manchester City, Borussia Dortmund, Juventus, Mbappé looked like he belonged. Monaco won Ligue 1 that season, breaking PSG's domestic dominance. In 2017, Paris Saint-Germain came calling. The move was enormous. The money was absurd. PSG already had Neymar. They wanted to build a super team. They wanted the Champions League. They wanted global power. Mbappé destroyed Ligue 1. Season after season, he scored, assisted, sprinted, celebrated, and collected titles. He became PSG's main man, then their all-time top scorer. But there was always one shadow: the Champions League. In 2018, he went to the World Cup in Russia. France had an incredible squad, but Mbappé gave them something terrifying: pure vertical fear. Then came the Argentina match. This was supposed to be a heavyweight clash, and it was. But in the middle of it, Mbappé produced one of the most devastating displays of speed the World Cup had ever seen. He won a penalty after a sprint from deep inside his own half. He scored twice. That match changed his global status. France kept going. Uruguay, Belgium, then Croatia in the final. And in that final, Mbappé scored. And just like that, the boy from Bondy was no longer just a footballer. He was a national icon. But here's the thing about reaching the top that young. People stopped judging you like a normal player. Then came 2022, Qatar, the World Cup final against Argentina. 2022 was something darker, stranger, and maybe even more impressive. Argentina were better. Messi was controlling the story. And then, in about 2 minutes, he detonated the entire match. Penalty, goal, then a volley, goal. Suddenly, it was 2-2. Later, in extra time, Messi scored again. But Mbappé refused to disappear. Another penalty. 3-3. France lost on penalties and Argentina lifted the trophy. But Mbappé walked away with the golden boot and one of the most outrageous individual performances in football history. He lost the final, but somehow his legend grew. But at club level, the PSG story was reaching its end. The relationship had become complicated. Contracts, politics, transfer rumors, public statements, private tension. For years, Real Madrid had been waiting. Mbappé had dreamed of them as a kid. The posters, the admiration for Ronaldo, the mythology of the Bernabeu, it had always been there in the background. And in 2024, it finally happened. Kylian Mbappé joined Real Madrid. On paper, this was the perfect football fairy tale. The boy who dreamed of Madrid becomes a Madrid player. The superstar enters the biggest club in the world. The stage gets even brighter, but Real Madrid is not a normal club. At PSG, Mbappé was the face of the project. At Madrid, nobody is bigger than the badge. That is the challenge, because Real Madrid does not sign superstars just to sell shirts. They sign them to win the Champions League, they sign them to create eras, they sign them to survive impossible nights and score when the whole stadium expects magic. And for Mbappé, that is the final transformation. He has already been the wonder kid, he has already been the national hero, he has already been the PSG king. Now he has to become something even harder, a Real Madrid legend. But football history is cruel. It does not only ask what you did, it asks where you did it, when you did it, and whether you did it when the pressure was unbearable. Mbappé's career has always been about speed, running faster than defenders, growing faster than expectations, reaching milestones earlier than anyone was ready for. But now the race is different. He is not chasing defenders anymore. He is chasing legacy, the Ballon d'Or, the Champions League, another World Cup. The kind of achievements that separate incredible players from eternal ones. And maybe that is the most fascinating thing about Kylian Mbappé. For almost any other player, his career would already be complete. World Cup winner, World Cup final hat trick, France captain, PSG all-time great, Real Madrid superstar, hundreds of goals, global icon. For anyone else, that would be the whole story. For Mbappé, it feels like the introduction. Because he didn't become famous by accident. He didn't reach the top by surprise. From Bondy to Monaco, from Monaco to Paris, from Paris to Madrid, every step has felt like part of a plan that started when he was still a child staring at posters on a bedroom wall. The scary part is that he is still writing it. And whether you love him, hate him, doubt him, or think he has already done enough, one thing is impossible to deny. Kylian Mbappé is not just living through football history, he is trying to own it.